So this is our dough ball experiment, and this is an illustration that I put together that's part of the lab exercise that shows you what to do. And basically, this involves mixing various ingredients together with flour and then creating dough balls. So the ingredients are water or yeast water, and then sugar or no sugar. Now I'm going to do this, I'm checking to make sure that I can actually see it through the camera. I'm going to do this on wax paper. And so it's calling for 2.5 teaspoons, that's a teaspoon, of flour. That's flour. So these should be roughly like that. Trying not to put too much flour on here. Of course, measuring with this thing, which normally is not how we do things, a 1/2 teaspoon is kind of tough. I mean, actually, it's really tough. So we're going to go with that and call that a 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, so we've put 2.5 teaspoons of flour. And basically what we're doing here is we're making bread, although it's a very small amount of bread. We're creating a little volcano, like that. And then we have to take our tap water. I could do this with the yeast water, but it seems like it'll be less messy with the tap water. And we're going to put in a teaspoon of tap water. Get it in there, not spill it. So that was tap water. And then if we were going to add sugar, and I guess I can, I usually say add very little sugar. So what do I mean by very little sugar? Like that much. Not a lot of sugar. You don't want to overwhelm your yeast with the sugar. I can see that I'm already making a great mess, so this is very authentic. So the trick is to not lose your water by too much. So you have to be careful when you're making a little dough ball. You don't want it spilling all over the place. Okay, so this creates quite the mess. And it arguably is a process that's not much fun. But your goal is to basically mix the flour and the water without losing much of either. The dough is going to be very sticky, and your goal, whoops, I've spilled some. We in theory will be able to recover that. Your goal is to pick up this flour. Just a little bit more. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Okay, we've got flour stuck to my fingers, and I'm putting it into the flour that's still on the wax paper in the hope that it will become a little less unstuck. Come on. Okay, now it's starting to feel like dough. I'm not claiming that this is, as I said, the most fun in the world, but it's starting to turn into what it ought to feel like. You want to get that dough off of your fingers. You certainly want to be working hard not to be losing a lot of your dough. And this process that I'm doing here is called kneading dough. That's kneading with a K. Hopefully I'm not hiding the process too much from the camera. And it takes some serious effort to to get it right. Especially with something this tiny. Now it pains me to do this since I'm a microbiologist, but I'm picking up my mess, trying to get the flour that's still left behind into this dough ball. Which takes some serious effort. I'm not going to deny that. Okay, that's a fair approximation of a dough ball. It's about the size it ought to be. And the next thing we do is we try to get our computer to turn on again. Is we want to mark this. So this was done using water and sugar. So this would be version number 2. And so we need to mark this. And the way we're going to mark it is by taking a pen and simply making 2 little holes. So like that and like that. So that's a 2. And yes, there's a mess. And there's going to be a mess. When you're making bread, there's always a mess. In fact, I'm making even more of a mess. But nevertheless, that would be a dough ball. And you would be making a total of 4 of these dough balls. And then you would be incubating them for most of the period. And then you would take a look at them. And I've got another video that that shows you what these dough balls look like once they've incubated. Okay.